Terrible, 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 terrible performance today. And it's been brewing. You can't keep living dangerously. You can't keep relying on defenses to bail you out. You can't keep living with 14 to low 20s in the points. And it was just a failing today on every level. The offense had opportunities. The defense had a game where I'm not going to fire anybody today, bro. I'm not going to fire out-coached, outplayed, miserable. That's it. It was every level fail. The defense got ran over. The offense has to have one of those games. And I can sit here and be an apologist today and say it's a young quarterback team with a bunch of new pieces, and we've all heard that before, and it's true. But at some point in time, they have to fucking – those are semantics. At the end of the game, it's just who cares what the completion percentage is. They just failed. They failed. It started at the end of the first half. Allen fumbles. They gift Philly 7 points. And right then and there. And I had totally forgot Philly was getting the ball to start the second half. They come out, second play, 65 yards. And it was terrible. From then on out, offense came back, I believe, and scored, if I'm correct. But then before the half, you get a missed field goal. Could have been a cheap 3 points. After the touchdown, you miss a PAT. So the kicking game was shit. It was just, and then the defense just totally. The defense is going to have a day like this. The defense has helped this team win a lot of games. I can be pissed at them today, and I should be pissed at them today. And at some point, you've got to start finding out who your good players are. And Singletary, obviously, people are going to start bitching and moaning about him not getting the ball. And he's a guy that's going to need to get the ball more, obviously, going forward. Offensively, they just don't have a weapon that scares the shit out of other defenses. They don't. In the past game, I don't know if the quarterback's not up to it, but it's just they just need a weapon that's going to put the fear of God into somebody that they have to game plan for. And whether it hasn't been John Brown, the shot play to Foster that didn't work out, it got caught up in the wind, dropped behind the Eagles defenders. It was, again, nothing popped off today. It looked like it was going to be a decent game once it was like 13-21 or whatever it turned out to be, and it just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. The last drive where Wentz just took the 2 plays and scrambled up on the third downs, those were backbreakers. But that whole sequence from end the first half all the way out through the third quarter was terrible. And at some point in time, this offense has to have a game. They have to have a game where they just go out and click. I know it's early. I know it's one of those, wait and see things, but it's going to have one because this is going to happen. I don't think we should panic, Trevor, but again, it's got to happen because they can't be fans. They can't go panic. They can't go, oh, woe is me, sky is falling. They can't do that because then it turns into a snowball effect. Defense had a bad game. They played against a good team. I don't care what their record is. They're still a good team. They have a rash of injuries, and the Bills just did themselves no favors today. Procedure penalties, fucking stupid fucking mistakes with run fits. Not tackling was terrible. Everything was terrible. I expect more. I'm sorry. I have higher standards. That was it. Yeah, that was an 8-point. Don't get the 3 points, and then they come out and get the 16 points. So you can quantify that. There's 8, there's 7, and then there's that's an 18-point swing in favor of them. Allen was today. Didn't really hit anything. I didn't see a lot of separation from the receivers much. It just looked like the offense went into quicksand after the drive to score the touchdown to Singletary. The offense just went into quicksand. It was just bad. It was just a bad day all around. And I don't want to just chalk it up to that. It was badly coached, badly adjusted, badly played, everything. It was terrible. It was terrible. And I just don't know what and you know what? NFL players play. Injuries are injuries. Guys make it into the NFL because they're good players. If they're not, they're Levi Wallace was on a practice squad. Now he's a Bill starter. Just because a guy comes up from a practice squad doesn't mean he's quality. And I'm going to call a few guys out, a few players. Well, just namely one. And this is going to be a weird one. Not for some. Star Lotulelei. Bills are paying him a lot of money to be a one gap controlling defensive tackle, and he's just not been good. He's just not been good. They've paid him. No, they're not there yet, Joe. But the team pays him a lot of money. The team pays him a lot of money, and he doesn't control the A gaps when they put him there. He doesn't control the B gaps when they put him there, and he gets running backs and guards turned loose on linebackers too many times, and you've seen it. And well, they play two different positions, bro. Him and Kyle and Star. It was just they got bullied. They did. The tackling at the second level was poor. You don't want your safeties and corners having to tackle a big back like Howard. And look, Sanders went out in the second half with an injury, and they still were able to buckle down. And another killer, Bills going 3-and-out after the turnover that Siran Neal forced on the punt. It was just bad all around. They just couldn't do something like they've done in the prior games to get the momentum swung back in their way. They just could never do it. There was opportunities there, and it just never happened. I believe on the Teron Johnson sack, Wentz might have fumbled, but he fell on it. It was just bad. Again, I can blame Daboll. I can blame this guy. It was just bad everywhere, man. It was bad everywhere. And this needs to be a wake up call for the whole unit, the whole team, the coaches too. They need to get back to fundamentals because they fundamentally got fucked up today. That's just the way of it. The Eagles did nothing special. They did nothing sexy. They went down the field once, and because they had screened so much, they were able to get Levi Wallace over the top. Those are going to happen, but still, you have to be better prepared for that. And yeah, I feel like they gave up on the run. Everything, John. Special teams, defense, every level. Just the coaches, the special, everything. Everything was bad today. People can get mad and say names and call this guy this or that guy that. I'm not going to do that because the team is 5-2. And they've snatched victory from the jaws of defeat a few times this season, but they need to come out and play pissed off. At some point, they need to come out and play pissed off and feel like they've been besmirched because they are. What do you think is going to happen this week? Paper tigers, all this and that. They're going to be like, oh, they didn't beat nobody. Look what happened when they played a real team. That's what's going to happen. That's exactly what's going to happen. That's exactly what's going to happen. It was a bad game, but still, you can't go out there and play that piss poor defense. I mean, and at some point, I know the offense is young. They have to come out and have a game. They really do. They need to come out and have a game. They need to come out and have a game. And you know what, fans? There's certain fans out there who are okay with this. You know who those fans are? And I'm gonna fucking rip those fans. The "I told you so" fans. The fans are like, oh, see, this is the same old fans. You know what? You're a bunch of fucking pussies. You know why you're a bunch of pussies? I'll tell you why you're a bunch of pussies. Because it's more comfortable losing because that's what you're used to instead of raising your standards and getting your hopes up and wanting and expecting this and wanting this team to win, expecting them to win because you're scared of the letdown. You hate the letdown feeling so much, all the letdown we're feeling right now, that you'd rather just nestle yourself in the comfortable factor of, you know what, they're probably going to lose and they'll probably fuck up. But you know what? This is what I'm used to. This is my safe zone. And you're scared to go outside that box. You know what? That's a bitch made losers mentality. A bitch made losers mentality. And I'll tell it to your face because you know what? I won't have that. And they only come out when they lose. And you know who would have been in here today? They would have been in here today. Corey would have been in here today going, blah, 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 blah. That's who would have been in here today. Yep, that's all they do. And they're all on Twitter and they're all just having fun right now. It's almost like they get more fun and they enjoy when the Bills lose. Are you a fan? Like, you're not even a fucking fan. How are you a Bills fan if you act like that? I'm not asking you to be a fanboy today. I'm not asking you to get your red, white, and blue pom-poms out today because they played like shit and they got their asses handed to them, okay? That's the truth. There's no other way to sugarcoat it. But you can't only come out when they lose like this and then just flex your muscles. And when they win, say, it's weak, it's this, it's that. You know, it's just I hate those fans. Dude, he's gardening somewhere, bro. Chan Gailey's somewhere in a garden. Let's forget that. It was a bad game for everybody. I'm not, you know who fire people? Weak-minded teams fire people. Daboll's gonna come on. Nobody's gonna fire Daboll. I'm pissed off. And it's disgusting, and they just played so bad. The defense played bad in the second half. They only gave up I'm gonna say they only really gave up 3 points in the first half. You can't give a team a short field. They just gave them a whole new lease on life. A whole new lease on life. Your expectations have too much reality. I'm not saying it's a Super Bowl team, but I expect them to be competitive and win. I don't sit there and concede defeat because I'm comfortable with losing and I don't want to get my hopes up that they win. And when I feel the letdown and when they lose, like I feel right now, I'm afraid to face that feeling because no, that's weak. That's weak. And there's a lot of fans who put themselves in that box and they stay there and they revel in this feeling. And that's bullshit. They're not to me. I don't even consider them Bills fans. I consider them frauds and I consider them piss in your cereal, just bitter, miserable people. Yeah, Eric, that fumble changed the game and it just went spiraling downhill ever since. Kerry Mayfield, play calling, execution. Maybe they were dialing up some plays and the execution was bad. It was a failing on every level. You can't quantify it right now, but you watched it, you saw it, we're reacting emotionally, and I know what you don't do. You don't make decisions when you're emotional. Somebody told me something smart a long time ago. Halt. Like if you're going to make a snap decision in an emotional state, don't do it when you're hungry, angry, lonely, tired, like all these different things. Don't do that. Halt. So you can't. That was just really, really, really frustrating to watch because all the people are going to come out now and just have a run at them and say they only got their record on fat and happy teams. I don't know if you just make a trade to make a trade. I've been calling for a defensive tackle, and you see why. Go look up on Twitter. Go to the advanced searches. I wanted a player on defense for a reason. Because the middle, to me, Kyle Peko is not good enough to hold up long term, and Starr is woefully underperforming for a guy paid his salary. He's woefully underperforming. I was paying close attention to him once Philly gained some traction in the run game, and he just looked like he's only in there. You can't be paying a guy that much who's only in there 30% of the time. That really has to either change, or they need to find a way to move on from his salary after the year is out. Yeah, I mean, you could say that too. Hussein says it was going to be a lose-lose situation, whether they won or lost. It was going to be they won, oh, I told you so, or it's because the Eagles were beat up. But you got to still take care of your business, man. You can't worry about the noise outside. You got to take care of your business on the field. You can't, the team needs to do that. We can be fans and fucking scream, yell, and kick our heels up like we're doing now. We can do that, but they need to be smarter than that, and they need to go out and take care of their stuff, and they just didn't do that today. There was 3 years now where they get leaned on in our run. But the offense has to go out and score some points. There has to be a game. There has to be a game where this offense explodes. There has to be. It just cannot be defense goes out, 3 and outs, maybe the occasional turnover, maybe they give up a field goal drive, only give up anywhere between the 10 to 13 point range, maybe 16 at most. They need to go out there, the offense, and put drives together, consistent drives, and they just haven't done that yet. Let's not. The Lion Beckham, if John Brown is gone, who do we have? Like, he's not gone, so let's not worry about today. Let's not worry about that today. Let's worry about who they have and what they're not doing. And Ipeko just did not. He has, to me, he's been okay today. He was really, really bad. But then again, the whole team was. The whole team was. Ramius is upset. The cat's upset. You know, Singletary, what's up, Low? Singletary needs to rock at least 20 touches a game. Gore's been good up until this point, but Philly's linebackers are not good. I think they thought they could take advantage of their injuries in the defensive tackle spot, and Philly's good against the run. They're good against the run. They have been good against the run, and they were vulnerable against the pass, and that was the difference in the game. Philly stuck with the run, broke off some long ones, and the Bills didn't stick with the run or break off too many long ones when they didn't. And the one long run, it was about a 12-yarder, and it was called back on the Lee Smith holding call, which really, really hurt. It wasn't Saints game bad, but it was bad. It was not good. And I really hate the fact it was at home. Those fans go out and sell out. And you know what? To those Bills fans who sold their fucking tickets on the secondary market to Eagles fans, 5-1 team coming in and you sell your tickets to Eagles fans. Okay, maybe there's extenuating circumstances. You can't go to the game, but really, why do you even bother? Why are you a fan? You're giving your away tickets to a fan base because I hate that shit. They were all in the lower bowl today. All in the lower bowl. But they haven't been there for 2 years. Rob Finn, it's time to move on. Eric Wood and Incognito. I mean, we're just going nuts. We're talking about let's just start talking about Eric Moulds while we're at it. That's ridiculous. They didn't lose because they don't have Eric Wood and Richie Incognito. They lost because they got outplayed. They got outcoached and they got outplayed. That's it. You know, it's just they need to come back. They need to get back to work tomorrow. They need to stop all this crap. Joe Smith asked, Marks, do you think we need to go to the division round this year, or do you see us? They need to go to the playoffs. They need to go to the playoffs. I don't know how far they go because all you need to do is get in. And what if you get in? It's one game. That's it. One game. We'll see. But it's a long way to go. Now there's 9 more games, and they need to get the light turned back on and go back to it, because this today was just tough. It was tough on all fronts. This was a measuring stick game, not the end of the world, but it's concerning because they just got bullied, and the offense wasn't able to gain traction. The defense lost traction, and it was just simple. Philly did nothing special. Do you think we tried? Obviously they should have tried anything that didn't work in the game. So yes, they should have tried to. They should have tried to do anything that they didn't do in the game. Yeah, they're human. Today showed us they're a team. Teams win and lose every day. Nobody. There's certain Bills fans that just think like they live in fantasy land. They live in their fantasy football team land, or wherever their age are, their Madden Ultimate Team. You can just make trades. You can just go get AJ Green. You can just go this. The Bengals aren't trading him. The Redskins aren't trading Trent Williams. They've said this. Those two organizations don't do rational things. The Bills can't force a team to trade somebody they can't get. Well, the media is going to say what the media is going to say, Joe. You can't get pissed off at the media because they're just there's a lot of people that blame the media. The media is going to do what they're going to do. That's it. So hold on a second. I got something to do real quick. Okay. That guy's gone because I had a troll in here. And it's funny. People that troll, they troll on Twitter. There's some guys, they troll me sometimes. They always have something negative and snarky to say, and they generally do it from faceless profiles with very few followers. Do you know what I call that? A pussy. At least show your face. If you're going to talk shit to me and critique and stuff, the team, show your face. Have the balls to show your face, please. I mean, what are they going to say, bro? I mean, who's saying McDermott's press conference was awkward as fuck? The media barely asked any questions. It is what it is. In Travsdale, the Bills have to win consistently, man. They're not going to get any respect until they win consistently, and they're not ready to step up and win as consistent as they need to. And today was the day that they needed to. Oh man, it was just awful. It was tough to watch. I don't know that they could have done anything differently because the Eagles didn't do anything sexy. Los, did Harrison Phillips, since he's been gone, we can't. I mean, they've stopped the run decently. Harrison Phillips has been gone since week 3, and they've been okay again. They've been decent against the run. I mean, they're not the 99 Bills against the run, but they've been okay against the run. Yeah, it's dejecting, And Joe, I want Allen. Joe Smith says I want Allen to have the. Yeah, he eventually he has to. K Beats, your cat is helping my mood. Well, I'm glad Ramius could be of some assistance, but he's he's got to eventually do it. He's got to eventually put the team on his back and throw. And I don't know if he's ready for that. I don't know if the team is up for that yet. I mean, on the last drive, the offense they were going to lose the game, but the offense was just off. I mean, you're at home and you're false starting 2 straight times on a bullshit give up drive. I mean, come on. No focus today whatsoever, and that reflected it. Yeah, it was just everything. The offense could get nothing going. The only time they looked good, I thought, I mean, even on the last drive, the first drive where they scored a touchdown, they didn't They got helped out with some penalties, but on the drive when they got the ball after Philly scored, Sanders, it was just, you know, they moved it, they scored, they went no huddle. This team does good in the no huddle. I don't know why they don't use it more often. They got to play Shady, who we got to beat the Reds. They got to play pissed. At some point, they got to play pissed. Yeah, Joe Smith, if you're a fan, bring it. Yeah, oh, please. That stuff is just like, oh, wait, has nothing to do with this year. It's just like, it's terrible. Don't go in message boards, please, if you're a Bills fan. It's 2019. Message boards are dead. That's why YouTube exists. You can come in here and bitch at me or bitch at each other, and, you know, as long as it's cool, civil. Message boards, again, faceless interactions with no substance. I'm not in the business of getting a pass rusher. You know, I'm not in that business. There's no need for a pass rusher. It was just bad on every level. It was bad on every level. The players played bad. The coaches didn't coach well, and it was one of those games. Eric says they need to learn to be a killer. They get too lax. I don't know if they get lax. They just don't have that. They need to just have that. Let's fucking go get it. Let's go attack and take it. On offense specifically, they need that. They need some big plays on offense. The biggest play they've had on offense all year was the Dawson Knox play at the last drive of the Bengals game. They need to get some more chunk plays. Yeah, Shady, who I feel like there are trolls. There's a lot of trolls out there. And for whatever reason, at the end of the game, he's just throwing the ball. Nobody's getting open. It just, a lot of those, it was just not a good day. I'm going to just chalk it up as not a good day. Hold on a second. My cat's dinner's here. Mom, I'm trying to do a video. Thank you. But yeah, it was just a bad day. He had to get his dinner. Got to keep you guys in therapy. Well, but you're not here to troll because I just put you there. And I put you in timeout. That's all. 300 seconds. I'm not going to stand for it because it's just going to piss me off. Yes, this team was unprepared. Seen Jerry coming in at the last minute. Yeah, Jerry was late. I believe it was I forget which play it was, but the Philly. I know Philly was in the red zone. I know that. John Patrick says that the guy with Shady who, that's disrespectful. Shady Shady made football exciting for the Bills. Punisher Vasquez. We knew Allen is not ready, but Allen's eventually got to start. You know, the receivers got to get open, and there's just got to be some bigger plays downfield. They got to start trusting Allen more, putting it in his hands. He was, again, the fumble, the touchdown given up. The defense gave up 4 straight touchdowns, but the offense did not stay on the field enough. They really didn't. Defense got only a couple of 3-and-outs in the second half, and they got a turnover, and the offense did nothing with it. So, again, I'm just going to blame every unit on the team, including the coaches, is culpable for this. That's it. They were all constituents of this loss. Nobody did their 1/11th. The whole thing, nobody. It was just bad, and they need to get back to work. They really do. Hussein says, what makes today's loss bad is how the defense played. The only identity we had was the defense. And after the bye week, they've been average. McCoy was my favorite player. John Patrick, same. McCoy's not here. So LaShawn McCoy is not coming back in the building. You can like Bills players from the past, but they're not going to help this team. The weather, to me, both teams got to play in the same weather. And it pisses me off when this is your home turf and you just find a way to not take advantage or adjust quicker, like getting Singletary with no. That's okay. If you want to take the offense to task, you want to take Daboll to task right now. Singletary, no touches in the first half. The guy is a dynamic. He's a shifty. He doesn't have top end speed, but he's great at making guys miss in phone booths, and he can make plays when he gets the ball in his hands. And this team is in dire need of playmakers on offense. Whether it's, I don't know what happened to Dawson Knox. Is he not getting open? Is he not playing enough? I don't know. Singletary needs like 15 touches a game in the pass and run game. At least. Because you're going to get anywhere between 65, 65, 70 plays on offense. Anywhere in between there, 60 to 70. He needs to get the ball 15 times on offense. There's no question about that. I mean, you want to call him trash for one game. You can call him trash for a game because today he was trash, but he's been good for the Bills. And Allen being in the same system is only going to help him long term. Coaches and players, you constantly want to, everybody is the offensive. No, you don't. That doesn't help. Ted Marchibroda called some shit games for the Bills back in the day. Jim Kelly, truth be told, was the offensive coordinator. Tom Bresnahan, they helped a little bit, but come on. Now I'm going way back. Yeah, Robert Foster today, Travsdale, I don't know. They just ran a shot play with him, but he's a guy, he needs to get involved in the offense more. I think Duke is a nice story. I don't know how prepared he is or isn't to be a regular contributor, but Foster needs to be the X receiver. And he needs to do what he did at the end of last 7 games of last year. That's my opinion, because he can break a game open. He's got great speed. From what I saw last year, he was able to get open regularly, and he can make plays. And this offense needs playmakers. They need people to make teams back up. I thought John Brown was that, but I guess with the wind, as much as it was today, a factor, they couldn't take the deep shots like they wanted to. And be that as it may, the other team on the other side of the ball plays with the same weather too. I think Joe Smith, this team has to overcome this toxic cynicism. I think it's the fan base that has to do that. Robin, let's go no huddle, Allen. Yeah, he seems to just respond well with it. He really does. He's seen when they get in the no huddle and start trying to go, hit on a few quick plays. Yeah. Yeah. It is annoying. It is annoying. But again, you can't pay attention to those things and react to everything you see. I'm guilty of that sometimes, but we're human, right? We're gonna do that. It's Shady Who is one game people need. Yeah, it's one game, but it's only been over for like really realistically it's been over for over an hour, and people are this is what we're humans. We're gonna react emotionally and irrationally, and this is the place to do it. Joe Smith, no, let's not get contentious. I get what he's saying. I get what Shady's saying, and I get what you're saying. Like, I'm pissed. I want to run through this fucking wall right now. I'm so fucking furious, right? But I have to also calm myself down and be like, yeah, it is one game, and I knew this was gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Your defense is gonna give up points. The 85 Bears lost to the fucking Dolphins 34 whatever because that defense didn't have a day where they showed up and they got exploited. And I'm not comparing the Bills to the 85 Bears, but your defense can't carry the freight with you all the time. The other coaches game plan, the other players play, and their other players are good. That's as simple as that. They have Pro Bowlers on their offense. Jordan Howard, Pro Bowler. Carson Wentz, Pro Bowler. Alshon Jeffrey, Pro Bowler. Jason Kelce, Pro Bowler. Lane Johnson, Pro Bowler. Zach Ertz, Pro Bowler. How many I named 7 Pro Bowlers on their offense. How many Pro Bowlers do the Bills have on their offense? Do they have one? Frank Gore, but he hasn't, he's old and he hasn't been to a Pro Bowl in a long time. He's not in his prime anymore. It's they've got to get back to work and restart. Oh, what's funny is, like, if you put somebody in timeout, you put somebody in timeout, or you hide them, and they're just commenting. They're commenting to themselves, and nobody else can read their bullshit. That's funny. Let me get back to the room. Sorry, guys. I had to get rid of that dude. John Patrick, this reminds me of the Patriots game last year where we got run over. No, the Bills just can't use the weather as an excuse. That's true, Travisdale. This is supposed to be a cold weather team built for this is supposed to be their kind of game, and it was the last thing that was their kind of game. Bills Daily will crash if they lose to the Redskins. I don't know. Is that a website, a fan website? Joe Smith, Kerry Mayfield. The problem with Allen is there was that with he gets those BS play calls. He's yeah. Kelly was different for me. He wasn't as good as he was. It was tough, man. It was a tough game. I'm trying to calm myself down. It was a really tough game for everybody. I mean, Allen threw a couple of touchdowns. He ran. I'm not even going to say he ran okay, because at the end of the day, that fumble started the landslide, and the defense didn't have a day. It really didn't. Yeah, I mean, you gotta go with what works. You got to go with what works. Damager, perfect example on how a game can quickly get away. Yeah, it can get away in a few plays. It got away at the end of the second half, and then it's just missing a point after, missing a field goal. Granted, it was 53 yards on a windy day. You change the tenor of the game. You keep it a one-score game. The fumble, 7 points right there. It's just, no, I'm sorry, 8 points or whatever the fuck. It might have been 7. I'm not sure, but it was just a mess. It was just a mess. They just didn't do themselves any favors. You're done with the QB runs, but look at Carson Wentz. I like when Josh Allen runs, not by design. I like when Josh Allen goes back to pass and breaks contain and hurts a defense that way. That's what I like. When he runs in that manner, I like that. Now, if it's now down near the goal line or in a short yardage situation, okay. But I like when he breaks contain in that vein. Bills can be 7. Yeah, they can be. And I hope we're having a different conversation next week, Shady, who I really do. I'm not concerned with Wallace. I mean, Alshon Jeffrey beat him for a play. That's going to happen, and I can't get on him too much, man. Damager, can he stop fucking stiff arm? Destructible. I seen him grabbing and throwing. Yeah, I mean, he's a player, Damager. He's going to try to make plays, and he's going to try to, that's what he is. That's why the team likes him. That's why the organization likes him. He's a competitor. And when you're doing things in real time, you can't sit there and think, well, if I get hurt, if I do this, it's like a boxer. You can't constantly think, well, the what if? What if I, throw my jab and don't pull it back to my jaw quicker than step around, then I'm going to get clipped. You can't, you just got to do it. You just don't think about it. You go into mental gridlock if you try to play the game like that or do anything like that. Trevor, these design runs hurt them at times. I mean, but they help them. He's made a lot of plays with his feet. I mean, so there's going to be some good and some bad, but he's made a lot of plays with his feet. Hussein should choose to take off and run. Design runs are stupid. Again, I don't mind them in certain instances, but today they just seem illy timed. Like the 3rd and 2 after the shot play, Gore got an 8-yard clip, and then he was a design run that he fumbled on. It was just weird. Eric says now it's time to see what this team is made of. Let's see how they regroup. Yeah, that's true. Let's see how they regroup after perform at home. They got bitch smacked. Let's see what they do at home again next week, because they can't come out and have another brain fart. Offensively, they have to play a complete game. They have, again, here's another game. They haven't played a complete game all year. And this game, they played terrible on every level. I'm not going to blame just the offense. I'm not going to blame just the defense. And I'm not going to blame – I'm going to blame all of them. All of them. Yeah, games like this happen, but it doesn't mean you accept them either. It doesn't mean you just, whimsically, no. No, I'm going to bitch for a few days, Shady, who on to the Redskins. On to the Redskins for them, but they should be pissed about this too. You should hope they're pissed about this. You really should, because if they're not, you should be scared. No, again, I think – after this week, a wake-up call should be had. A wake-up call should be had to finally get Singletary more involved in the offense. Oh, Nick Chubb just fumbled again. Wow. After a long run, he just fumbled again. Unbelievable. Just killed themselves. The Patriots, that's what they do. If you make a brutal mistake, and that's what happens. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. What's up, Bonzolo? Yeah, it's going to be a tough, it's going to be a tough to watch. It's going to be a tough film session to watch. But you know what? They need to watch it. They need to go watch it. They need to be like, hey, we got our asses handed to us. And I don't know, this team doesn't. I'm not going to sit here and push the panic button. There's no need to do that. Travsdale, right. It's time for us to bitch smack a team. Haven't done that all year. Yeah, they need to start doing that on some level. Damager says our on the edge intensity wasn't there today. Philly and Ertz was. Yeah, they just didn't. Again, there was just the concentration level, the execution level, the coaching. It was lacking everywhere, man. It was everywhere. And it obviously starts mentally, but they didn't execute when it came down to the physical stuff either. Francisco Barrios, the evil empire with all the breaks. They make their own breaks. They forced that fumble and they recovered it. You got to make your own breaks, man. And they, as much as I hate them as much as anybody. They've been the root of our suffering and the rest of the AFC East for a long time. And hopefully after this year, it comes to an end with a 42-year-old quarterback. Trevor, learn from the tape and put this game. They just can't totally put it behind them. They need to keep this in the mental Rolodex. Be like, hey, here. They're professionals. They're professional football players. I'm sure games like this has happened to every one of them, not only as a group, but individually. And they definitely need to know it, because teams are going to try to copy it. But it's hard to copy things when you don't have the same personnel to copy it with. Always remember that. People say, well, they're going to try to copy this. Well, if you don't have the personnel, you can't always copy it. You can't always replicate it because you don't have the horses to run the race with. You can try, but it might not be to your benefit. Redskins can't try to do what the Eagles tried to do. They're just not. They're going to try to do different things. The weather might be different that day. Do I see any trades this week? Yeah, there's going to be trades. There's always going to be trades, Los. I don't know what, but there's going to be trades. I mean, there's been trades in the last 5 days plus. There's going to be movement. I don't know if it'll involve the Bills. I don't want them giving away picks in the top 3 rounds because I feel like this brass can pick players. Irregardless of what today's result gave, I feel like this regime can pick players, and I don't want them giving away first round picks, second round picks, third round picks, whatever I want those picks. Trevor, that's what I'm saying. Just watch the tape and correct the mistakes. You got to correct the mistakes by playing better. And that's how you correct the mistakes. They didn't tackle. Guys were in spots. They didn't make plays. I mean, Hyde had a chance for that interception. It was a tough diving chance on a screen, and he didn't come up with it. Trevor, the defensive line needs a boost, maybe a depth guy. I like the guy on the practice squad. I like Vincent Taylor. The guy played a lot for Miami last year. He had 2.5 sacks. He's a good penetrator. He's low to the ground. I like that guy. I want him on the 53. You can release a guy like a Kirk Coleman or somebody like that. But hopefully they get Corey Thompson back next week as a depth guy. Milano came through this game okay. That's a good thing. I don't know what Levi Wallace's health is like, even though I don't know if he came back in the game. I didn't listen to the press conference. I came right in to talk to you guys because I know you guys were pissed. I was pissed. I needed to talk to you, probably way more than you needed to talk to me. I couldn't sit here for hours on end and not talk because I was so fucking mad. Oliver's trying to penetrate, but see, that's the thing is that's Starr's job. Starr's supposed to keep bodies off of him, and Jordan Phillips is playing really, really well, and he's benefiting from a lot of attention that Oliver's getting. And and Jordan Phillips is no slouch. He's a former second round pick. He's not a bad player. Yeah, they were fine on defense in the first half. But Philly came out and made adjustments, and the Bills didn't make enough adjustments. And if they did, they didn't execute. I'm sure it's a bunch of a lot. It's a lot of it all. It's just really, really bad to watch when you have to watch it, and it's a downward spiral that's not stopping. And it was just you're just sitting there waiting for a play to be made. And what I wanted, to be honest with you, when the Bills got the ball back, I needed a chunk play. I needed a play that was of the 35, 40, 50-yard caliber, and it wasn't there to be had. It wasn't made if it was, because I didn't see it. And that was the most infuriating thing. Trevor, I think what makes losses worse is social media, everyone. Yeah, well, you can detach from that, man. Social media, we all have a choice. We don't have to engage in it. And we can always limit how much we do or don't engage in it. So that's a self-management thing, man. You know what people are going to say. So I take it for what it is. Travsdale, all right, everyone's saying Milano was the reason our run game suffered last week and came back and we got killed. Yeah, so we need to execute no excuses. Shaking my it's like Milano was going to be the panacea for this week. He wasn't obvious. The whole team failed. So yeah, it's a group thing. It's not a one player led thing. It's a group thing. Punisher, Velasquez, Oliver will play better. He's not doing bad. No, he's not doing bad. He's just, again, he's a rookie playing physical NFL football for the first time in his life against good players every week. Just because I'm plugged in on social media because I like the NFL coverage. I like it too, and I'm plugged in as much as possible. But it's tough when you lose, man, especially like that. Worst game of the year by far. Worst football since the first half with the Pats, I would say. First half with the Jets, it was tough. It was bad, and for the whole year, 4 quarters of bad football. but they need to play a complete game. I'm going to keep saying that till I'm blue in the face. This team needs to play a complete game, offensively, defensively, special teams, or two units need to have a. How about this? How about two units have a lights out day? A lights out day, and generally when that happens, it's going to be the offense and the defense because then the special teams gets marginalized. But the offense needs to come out there one day and just have a day. Boom, 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 boom. They really do. And I'm gonna say that till I'm blue in the face. Yeah, Singletary needs to get the ball more. That I'm going to bow down to 100%. He's a rookie. People need to. He's a rookie. People are going to say what they're going to say. Yeah, there's a certain guys that don't like the Bills. There's a certain guys that just have. I mean, it just you can just tell by their bias, the way they talk. I mean, so I just you can just see their tweets. They tweet something complimentary and they treat platitudes about one thing, and then the same thing they'll contend a bit. So I just don't worry about it. Eric Marino, there's just no response. It felt like we kept getting punched in the face. Yeah, it was very frustrating. It was like a boxer who was just stuck in the corner and didn't have the knowledge and how to cut an angle and get out and then get back and reset in the middle of the ring. That's what it was like. That was it was like. He had no idea, he had no answers, had no counter punch for their counter punch. And they came out in the second half and they went down and ran the ball. They saw they couldn't throw the football efficiently. So they decided to throw the football in spots, and then they just, they hunkered down and they were able to break open some runs, and just, that's what killed them. Shady who the media and some fans are conditioned to hate them. I don't say they're conditioned to hate them. I think they're conditioned to believe the Bills will be bad. A lot of Bills fans are conditioned to believe the team is just going to be bad and is just going to, they're going to suck, and that's just the way it is. The offense responded. They responded with a big drive, and then you miss a PAT. And then the defense, I believe, gives up another drive, and then the offense goes 3 and out. They get the ball back on the punt, the fumble on the punt, and then they go 3 and out. So it just was a myriad of issues. Yeah, I mean, that's right. Rob FN says Bills always get disrespected. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I just think it's more like the Bills should always lose, and that's what even people in the media are conditioned to believe the Bills are an also-ran. But fuck that. We just have to go out there and take it to other teams and establish our. Yeah, they just have to. They just have to go out. That's what football is. It's an imposing of the will game. There's no other way to put it. Oh my God, Baker Mayfield just pitched it to the Pats defensive lineman. Did you see that? He handed it to Lawrence Guy. He just gave it to him. Sorry to get off topic. My God, I can't believe that. Yeah, Sam Darnold had another rough day. He threw 3 interceptions. He's trying to make plays in a game. He threw 3 picks. And he's another rookie quarterback who's barely played a year of football. Baker Mayfield is a rookie, not a rookie anymore, but he's a young quarterback playing a game. You learn in the NFL game. And we have to try to remind ourselves that Carson Wentz is what, a 4-year veteran? And, Doug Peterson's an offensive coach that's very good. He coached the Super Bowl for a reason. The guy doesn't suck. Good one, Shady Who. Los, this team needs to run the ball more, a lot more, like you said earlier when it's December. And yeah, again, I remember the Bills throwing for 300 yards in some rough games, though, man. Just because it's snowing doesn't mean you can't throw. It's more of a wind thing. Remember, there was a snowy game in New England one time. They scored 59 points, I believe, against the Titans because it was snowing. It was hard for the linemen to get traction, to get movement in the run game. So they found it more advantageous to easy touchdown for the Patriots. It was more advantageous to throw. I'm sorry. So it was a big picture thing, and they just didn't. It was more I'm calming down right now. You got to remind yourself, got to remind ourselves, this is an offense that just doesn't have its finding or just doesn't have an identity right now. And that's a work in progress. The defense, they needed the offense to keep them off. This is a day the defense needed the offense, and the offense couldn't do it. And there was spots where the offense needed the defense, and they couldn't do it. But the defense has been, let's be honest, the defense has been making plays for this team all year. So you know what? They had a shitty day today, but I can't shovel coal on them for the preceding 6 games. He threw for it. I've seen him have a lot of shit games, especially those last few years, bro. Those last 2 years with the Bills were not pretty games, man. With Drew Bledsoe. Shady Who, Baker, too busy doing commercials. Punisher Velasquez, the offense has been together just 7. Yeah, it's just 7 games. I got to remind myself that because it's the truth. And the quarterback is barely out of his rookie year. And I love all you guys. Thank you so much, for coming in. I'm going to stand here and bullshit with you guys for a minute longer. I'm just really, really, because it's all week now. It's all week. You got that game. And that's why I'm not a boastful Bills fan. Like I'm not boastful in the sense that I believe that the Bills are, because they're our team. We believe they should be awesome and great and everything they do is great. And we get pissed when people critique them and this and that. But, it's being a fan. And it just really, really sucks that that they had a real clunker of a game, man. They really did. Yeah, the Eric Moreno. They need to work on pre-snap penalties as well as an offense. They can't put themselves in. They specifically, Eric, cannot put themselves in bad long down and distance situations. They can't do it. They overcame it, believe it or not, on the second drive of the first drive after the Sanders touchdown run. They overcame some down and distance situations. They scored a touchdown. It was a 3rd and long on the Singletary. They picked up another 3rd and long on a Brown catch on the sidelines. So it was, again, it just nothing. They just never get into a rhythm, and they have to find a way to get into a rhythm. Thanks, dude. I love you guys. You're worth it. You guys are. Yeah, dinner's not gonna taste good tonight. Food sucks. Sleep's gonna suck. No red flip flops and cheetah thong for my ass. Nothing. I get crap. Yeah, I mean Josh Allen. The offense had no flow to it. After that drive, it was just blah. It was just bad. Yeah, of course, I'd rather, I'd rather always be more wins than losses, unless it's 9-7. I want this team to have, a performance that's like, whoa. I want a whoa performance. I want to stand up and take notice performance, and you're not going to get that against the Redskins. Unless Josh Allen throws for like 500 yards. And if they go out and win against the Redskins, but if they lose, everybody's going to be like, holy shit. So they've got to get their focus back. Because they can't expect the Redskins, who are having extra rest off a Thursday game, to just come in and lay down either. They're not. They're going to try to run the ball next week too, because that's what Bill Callahan does. He likes to run the ball. And the Bills got to prove they can shut that down. And they have to prove that they can, make adjustments. They're not just going to wilt. There's some people out there, teams are just going to come kowtow to the Bills. No, that's not the way football is. Trevor, I can get it. You young guys, you young Bills fans that have never seen success, gap integrity, run fits. There was none of that. I mean, Hyde got caught on the wash because the defensive lineman got blown out of his gap on the Sanders run. I saw that shit on the replay. That's something I actually saw, and I can tell you happened. I don't need the all 22 for that. He got blown right out of the A gap, and there went Sanders, and he was gone. And Hyde, who's normally back there, maybe could have made a tackle 20 yards downfield. He came up and got caught up in I forget who was I think it was Goddard and Edmonds. It was just like four bodies in there, and he ended up being one of them, and it was just boom right past them, like it was toast. Ugh. Really, really frustrating, guys. Super, super frustrating. Oh, I can't believe I've been talking about this for an hour. I feel like, oh, I wish we could just press reset on the day and they could just play the game again. Yeah, Doug Peterson's a good dude. Again, they've had a winning team. They've been to the playoffs. Two out of the last two straight years. They were 8-8 in his first year, I believe. So this guy's not a scrub. He's not just some douchebag. He's a disciple of Andy Reid. Offensively, he played quarterback in the league. So it's going to take time. Won a Super Bowl against the Patriots. Yeah. It's not some slapdick team. Yeah, they're of course everyone's going to try to run until they stop it, and you got to prove that's what you're going to do. That's football. The Bills up until last game stopped the run pretty well. Up until today, they only gave up 80 yards against the Dolphins. I mean, Walton made a couple of plays last week, but they didn't get gashed. Today they got gashed, and then they gave up a long one. And then the Wentz runs obviously hurt because those were in third down situations. And they were a result of them not being ready for him to run, or the one run that he had was from a broken pass play and he just took off because he saw a lane to run in. So that's what I want to see Allen do. If I can make one little tweak, I want to see Allen run more as a result of him dropping back to pass and not seeing anything that he likes. Or you could just throw it away and take there's no law that says you got to go every time, but if you see an opening, go. Definitely. Trevor, I just watched a documentary on the Bills, Four Falls of Buffalo, and they had some growing pains. Yeah, they had some growing pains. I can tell you that because I watched it. I watched it. They were a 9-7 team in '98. They were all of a sudden they were a 12-4 team, but the 12-4 team, I will tell you this, they won ugly ass games. That 12-4 '88 team won ugly fucking games. And the preceding few years with Kelly were 86 and 87. They were not good. They were like 5-11. I think they were like 4-12. They were not a good team. They used to get bitch smacked around pretty good. And they had Kelly. Kelly was 26. Kelly was 26 years old when he took his first snap for the Bills. Okay, he wasn't a rookie. He had played 2 years in the USFL. He took his whole first year off because of his shoulder injury that he had in his last year against Miami. So when the Bills drafted him, he wasn't going to play a whole year. Played 84, 85 USFL, Houston Gamblers. They folded. He signed with the Jersey Generals. Okay, not a lot of people know these stories. Well, maybe a lot of older people do. I'm telling them to you. And then the league folded. He was going to play right here for the New Jersey Generals when it was Giant Stadium. You know who owned the New Jersey Generals? You want me to tell you? You want to laugh? Who owned the New Jersey Generals? Donald Trump. Donald Trump owned the New Jersey Generals. The league folded. Then he's like, Buffalo has its rights. So, they started opening negotiations and they finally caved into his financial demands. He runs onto the field as a Bill against the Jets. And then, there's some growing pains and stuff. Once he's 29, 30. So Kelly was not a young guy when they got him. Like, he was young, but not like green rookie. Yeah, Kelly did not want to play for the Bills. There's a famous clip of him. You could play in Houston or you can play in Buffalo, and I'll just stop. I could say there's a million reasons why, but that's it. But that's ancient history. But the point was that team had growing pains, and they had Hall of Famers. They ended up having Hall of Famers. They had on those teams he came on. They had Talley, they had Smith, they had Reed, they had Ken Hull, they had Will Wolford. They had guys. Joe Devlin was on that team. Fred Smerlis was on that team. He wasn't part of the Super Bowl runs, but he was a good player and he was a part of those teams. So they had bodies, man. They weren't. But again, they hadn't established themselves yet, and this team is still establishing itself. That's why I tell people making a trade is haphazard. It's haphazard for this team. This team still has growing to do. They really do. They really have growing to do in personnel, and on the talent, coaching, they have growing to do, and that's just the reality. And you've seen it today, and you've seen it at points during the season in the wins. Even they're not ready to just roll every week and fire on all cylinders. They have to grow to that point. It's not like Dallas. Dallas was able to get a high caliber first round talent. Look at the 49ers. Their whole defensive line is like top 10 studs. Their offensive linemen, they have a top 10 stud. So they were able to acquire. The Bills haven't been drafting they don't draft in the top 5. The Bills have been just good enough to draft outside of that range. And the only time they get there is if they trade up there. Like they traded up to 7 to get Allen. Bills have not drafted in the top 5 since Marcel Darius. So it's not like the Bills are just this horrible. Also, I mean, they're never the worst of the worst, but they're obviously never the best of the best. I don't know if I'm still on. If I'm still on, thumb me up. If I'm not down, so I don't know if the chat's dead or not. It says it's going on. But all right, guys. Oh, you're up. Okay, I'm up. I'm sorry. I thought I was just talking to myself. I'm a dick. You guys are probably watching this game. I'll let you go watch this game and enjoy the rest of your afternoon as best as possible. It's been 1 hour and 6 minutes. You're going to probably see me bitch on Instagram and Snapchat the rest of the day. Yeah. Fuck. That sucked. That really sucked. All right, guys. Thank you so much for, Bill's therapy after a game. It's Vicious 155. I'll put it in the room. It's the same. It's Vicious in here, but it's Vicious 155. Trevor, disappoint. Yeah. Have a good rest of your day, bro. Love you guys. Go Bills. They got to regroup and come back next week angry as fuck, yo. Really. They really do. Peace, guys. Go Bills.